Welcome everyone to another CIDDL office hour. We're really excited about today's presentation with Jamie and Trey. I will throw it over to them and they can kick us off.
Hey, folks. So if you've been on office hours before, or if you've talked to Trey and I recently, we've been talking a little bit about this concept that's been coming together. He and I actually just got done teaching a 15-week course on AI for our graduate students. And kind of what's emerged from that course is our students saying, we don't want the class to end. Like, how do we continue to do this together and to continue to meet on a week-to-week sort of basis? And that got us thinking, like, things we hear from our CIDDL community all the time is like, where do I go to get some AI training that's more than just cool tools that kind of builds AI literacy and gets to think around human problems? And so we've been developing over the last few weeks here a concept, a prototype, if you will, to think about bringing a group together at a national level to support AI literacy development and everything in between. And we are calling it CIDDL AI Studio. So this CIDDL Studio, and Trey, jump in whenever. The CIDDL Studio is exactly what it is. It's if you're familiar with the way that our colleagues on campus in design and other areas think about studio space. It's a place where you kind of come together, design, prototype around human-related issues and human-related problems. And in this one, what we're going to do is use AI as a backdrop for that and support like growing and learning around AI.
Just as Jamie goes to the next slide, one of the big key takeaways from our teaching and actually working with a lot of district leaders across the country is that they wanted some anchoring to kick off conversations. So everyone is struggling with policy development, AI literacy, and trying to figure out how to move forward with either the district level or even personal level with workflows, with figuring out what platform I should use or if I should use all of them. And so Jamie and I used this book called The Coming Wave in our class. It was really successful. And the reason why we like this book is it's actually not an overly scholarly book. It's really talking about the coming of different technologies, including AI, and how it's going to impact, our future. And so not only is it a good route for us, but it's an opportunity as a platform to jump to multiple topics that we can then discuss in the CIDDL studio. Jamie?
Yeah, so what we're doing is pulling together a national community of people to kind of share big ideas, share inquiry, and kind of join the studio. And so what we're announcing here today is we're giving people a way to join the studio. And the idea is that we're going to come together around human-centeredness, AI, and human variability. And students with disabilities, individuals with disabilities, we're going to talk about trust, ethics, governance of these things, talk about the future of knowledge production, and kind of come together to join this kind of intellectual salon, if you will, or applied sandbox around human first sort of problems. And so the way this is going to work is we're going to bring together sort of real challenges. People are going to bring challenges to the table, and they're going to iterate around those challenges and help design and build things. And we're going to work in this notion of kind of sketching, critiquing, and iterating around these processes. And this is similar to what we did in our class, which is the midterm in the class, for instance, was a 3-week sprint, where week 1, the students kind of came up with something they wanted to build. Week 2, and they started building. Week 2, they kind of came around, what are some of the problems they're having? What are some of the solutions they're coming up with, et cetera. And then week 3, they presented what they kind of came up with. And this is going to kind of build on that notion. And we're going to just take this AI studio and develop in this free space. So
And
Trey?
real quick, one quick example that we have is we spoke to a local school district and they were going to invest a lot of money in one of the tools that would allow them to do IEPs and align things with the different types of standards. For example, we have multiple tiered supports, or we have even Jamie's bot that he's created to support. What was that called again? The specific bot?
The HLP. Yeah, the
HLP, yeah.
HLP. Yeah.
And so rather than having them purchase a system, we wanted to show them that with a platform like Google, like Office, Microsoft Copilot, or OpenAI, or even Anthropic, they can actually make their own bots for less than 10 seconds or 15 minutes by training it. And so training them how to actually go through there and then create their own specific need one-off tools. That's something that we envision that these participants will come to the table. They come to the table with a problem. We're going to hopefully solution that problem as a team and move together as they create new products that are personalized.
Yeah, so the plan is here, and we're launching it on our office hours. But the plan is here to offer this free collaborative sort of community to come together. It's going to be a 6 week studio. People can commit to join synchronously, asynchronously. We're hoping to get some synchronous sort of thought on this, but we realize it's summertime. People may have vacations planned and everything else. And so we're going to be flexible around this, but it's completely free. We're seeing this as kind of a high level professional sort of learning experience. Obviously, we're funded by the U.S. Department of Education, so there's no cost to anyone. Although, just to kind of put out the little disclosure here, we're funded under the cooperative agreement of the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. However, none of the stuff we do in the studio itself necessarily reflects or represents policy from the U.S. Department of Education. So we're kind of operating on a grant, but it does pay for this to be done. We are opening this to anyone who wants to join. CIDDL is primarily focused on supporting transformational change in the way we prepare educators and special educators, just generally people that serve individuals with disabilities. But we're opening this up to whether you're a higher education faculty member, you're an education leader in K-12, or you're even an educator in K-12 and you want to join. We're really opening this up to anyone. It's going to be limited to the first 25 people that sign up, at least the first cohort is. And we're centering this on solutions around all individuals, including individuals with disabilities. But please know, this is going to be kind of a different experience for people. It's not a webinar. It's not really a course. It's kind of a space that's going to be a shared thinking space for how AI is impacting the future of learning, the future of education, and giving people a way to kind of critically think about this process, but then also importantly, kind of get their hands dirty with coming up with solutions to problems of practice that they currently have. So that's kind of the process. And Trey, what happens if they complete?
So not only, are we excited about providing solutions to some of the problems that you bring to the table, but we also want to highlight the work that you do. So if you participate, we want to show off the work that you do. If you have a really unique or even a problem that a solution that is developed throughout this process that you want to share and disseminate with the crowd, we want to highlight you on the CIDDL Studio website. We also want to make sure that you're part of the CIDDL community and showcase all of those applied designs so that we can then show a greater scale of impact. What we have found is that, once we show some initial creative outlets, the floodgates open and there are a lot of new things that come out. And so we're excited to share that with not only our initial cohort of 25, but with the wider audience that is part of CIDDL.
Yep. So people that are interested in joining this first cohort can sign up by either scanning the QR code that's on the slide here or joining and getting into the bit.ly and just sign up. And again, we're limiting to the first 25 people. If we get 25 people, great. If we're under 25 people, we'll deal with that. And then the people beyond 25 will maybe move to another cohort. But we're excited to be announcing this. And this is going to be going out on our social media and things like that. If you have questions, please reach out to us at info.ciddl.org. Is that right, Angelica? I think that's our right email address. But you can also ask questions here if you're live with us here today.
Just real quick, as just a couple of good examples, stories from our students and what they were able to create is pretty phenomenal. So one of our students, Meg, was able to connect all of the researchers in our KU university and identify who has published in the area of AI? And do they actually publish with other researchers in that institution? And there are now a node for different relationships that can be drawn. Maybe they're already formal. So, for example, Jamie and I have written together, so has Matt Marino. And so that little map that she's created shows a direct connection with each other, saying these folks have actively worked together. But guess what? Lisa Deeker's right down the hall, and there's probably an opportunity for her to join this team, or maybe someone else that's in KU that we don't know. And so it's an opportunity for us as that little program to say, oh, we leveraged all of this information. Here are the relationships that should be drawn, or here are some new grant opportunities that you can maybe work with these individuals across the university to increase the impact and opportunity to secure funding in a particular area. So that was just
And
one example.
another quick example that kind of came out of that work of that class is that we had a master's student that was in the class who developed a custom GPT, if you will, similar to a custom GPT that would take a syllabi, do an analysis of the syllabi for supporting needs of students with disabilities in a college level classroom. So it looked at the accessibility of things, the alignment to UDL, things like that, and then actually made suggestions to how the syllabi can be transformed and the course design can be transformed to be more accessible to students with disabilities and to support more learner variability as a whole. And then was able to make design suggestions, but then also reproduce the syllabi and the course design for that. So those are just two examples of things that were done in our class, and we're imagining the AI studio is going to come up with many more as kind of people bring their own problems of practice. So if you're thinking about how does AI fit into the space I work in, whether you're in teacher education or you're thinking about what you have to do next year in the work that you do, as we enter summer, this is a great opportunity to kind of play around and kind of work with a national group of people to do this work. Seeing no questions, I think we can probably move on.
All right, so I'll end our recording for today. You can always look back on our YouTube and on our CIDDL website for our follow-up blog that goes along with this office hour. And make sure you're keeping up with us in our CIDDL community and on our social media. We will have more information coming soon about this experience. Thank you, everyone.